Engine's out for the third time. So let me catch you guys up real quick. We ended up buying this 2011 Can-Am Commander as a project, initially thinking it just had a transmission issue. Once I got it home, I realized it was also missing the front diff. We pulled the clutches, realized those needed to be replaced. Once we pulled the transmission apart, we saw that one of the needle bearings had completely fallen apart, and we also noticed the shaft, the snap ring, had slid off of there. We ended up replacing the needle bearing, took it out for a drive, and it was still grinding, and that leads us to where we're at today. All right, engine's out for the third time. This is what we found here. All right, got the case loose. So I figured maybe there's just some tolerances that got damaged that I couldn't tell. So I looked up some new gears, and unfortunately they only sold it as a kit. So I had to buy everything, basically the complete gear set along with the counter shaft, which was really expensive. The other thing I did check was with the caliper, I measured the shift fork. One of them was out of spec a little bit and the other one was fine, but I figured just replace them both. I'm here, I don't want to rip this transmission back out. And at this point I was just kind of throwing parts at it because I couldn't figure out what the issue was. This, I think, are the bushings that we got. Upper control arm bushings. I think upper and lower, actually. So you can see here, these bushings are completely gone. I wasn't expecting this, but these are kind of an off size, so they had to take a special socket. All right, I finally got them off. We got some more parts to buy. These pads are non-existent. Luckily, the rotors are okay, but there is no pad. I mean, that's metal on metal. Same here, pad is non-existent. Oh man. All right, I think that's tight enough. I think the next thing to do is we'll just do the diff fluid change on the back. So it's the next day and all the diff fluid leaked out. I just cleaned it up. So obviously there's a leak somewhere on the seal, I think. Can't really tell. Oh, I guess it's got a big O-ring. No chunks or chips missing out of there. There's chunks missing out of there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's huge chunks missing. So here's the issue I'm having. I'm looking at parts and they don't sell that pinion gear anymore, but I can find like a full diff. So I'm just gonna count all the splines on here and also on the CV axles so we can see if we can use the 2012, 2013. I'm not sure what changed from a 2011. I don't know if it's different gearing. It says it's a 1036, so I wonder if the splines are different. Anyways, we're gonna count them because I really don't know what other options we have if we can't make that work. So we were able to find a new diff, brand new, that we're gonna replace it with. All right, so let's see what this box is. I'm pretty sure this is the gear set. Needle bearings, which we already placed, so we'll keep those for the next one. These are the shifting sleeves. Gear, rings, we already replaced those, so we're gonna keep it for a different project. Another needle bearing, gear, another gear. This one I think is reverse. Counter shaft, and this is probably high gear. All right, full gear set. Here's the other parts here that we got. Look at that, brand new. Also got this. Yep, here she is, front diff. So there was a thing with this one. On the listing, it said there was a stuck bolt. There it is. I think we got her. So I think what I want to do, we're going to for sure replace the seals. So I'm going to clean it all up. Took a little longer than I thought, but probably the cleanest it's ever going to be. It's pretty good. No metal. This looks good too. Nothing but just regular wear. Pinion gear looks great. These all look pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see those, but they spin freely. No teeth missing. No abnormal wear. So we got this stack here, we got this right here. This, I believe, is our seal pack and clutch forks from Can-Am. There's all our stuff. Got our seals, bolts for the front diff. All right, we're gonna open up the rear CV axles here. Look good, they're nice and stout. We got a brand new rear diff. Was not cheap, but we didn't have a choice. That's what we got, so I guess let's start putting some things together. We started on the passenger side CV axle. Once we got that in place, we moved over to the driver's side. Once those were both in place, we were able to slide the diff in from the top. Usually there's a bracket here, but we removed it obviously to pull this, so it was really easy to slide back in. From there, we got the hubs in place. I think we're ready to move on to the transmission here. All right, I got our shift forks here. Seal this up. I'll get this torqued up for the third time, and we'll move on to throwing it back in there. All right, engine is in, hopefully for the last and final time. This is gonna be our third time putting it in there. So we're in low gear. Let's go ahead and shift into, that's neutral. So here we're supposedly in high gear. It's literally doing the exact same thing it's been doing since the beginning. So I guess for the fourth time, time to take this thing back out and break it down. So yeah, it's timed right. Oh, here we go. So this is where the shims go. So there's shims right there, which go on this end over here, which push the shift drum up. Or if we get rid of those, it'll push it down. I'm not sure what that is. That is definitely not part of... Oh man, I bet you they shimmed it, or what's going on here? Oh, is this shift drum broken? Oh, it is, look at that. It's not broken, but the snap ring is off of it, which I bet you is what's causing, obviously, because it's partially engaging this. So this snap ring goes in here, which is obviously off. So I don't know if you guys can see there, but this shift, or this snap ring came off. And what's going on here, and that's what was causing all those issues, because it would shift into gear and you could drive, but you could hear the other gear, which would be this gear set here, whatever's on here, this shift fork, would be pushing the other gear partially in because it's not seated down. I mean, it's enough to you know, like it's supposed to be right here and it's up here, which is partially engaging the other gears, which makes sense. When I would shift these gears, this would be fine, I couldn't hear it. But when I would shift this, which is your high gear, I believe, it would engage and disengage, but then this would be partially engaged as well. You know, I wonder if this was the only issue and we didn't have to replace all this stuff here. Well, I guess at least we figured it out, but we can still throw it back on, I think. Yeah, it's back on. All right, so I think I got something rigged up here so we can actually hear this thing spinning. So that should be low gear. There's no knocking there. I think we figured it out. So my guess is we didn't need to replace anything other than the main shaft for sure, because that was worn. And then also the shift drum we would have had to fix, obviously. The only thing is, since I'm figuring this out as I go, I wouldn't have guessed that it was the shift drum had we not replaced everything. All right, it's back together. Everything's buttoned up for now. And we'll just do a quick loop here, see how it does. I'm hoping we're done and we don't have to rip this thing apart again. We still got a bunch of panels, we gotta clean it up. But I just want to do a quick test drive. Then if it's good, we'll throw some coolant in it, get it all cleaned up, and then we'll take it out for a quick spin. Moment of truth here. Reverse sounds good now. All right, this is where we really had the issue. So we're in high gear now. So I think let's throw some coolant in it and take it for its first official drive. All right, we're on our first official test drive. We're just gonna do a quick shakedown, make sure everything's good before we throw it back together, and then do the official test drive. Plenty of power, feels good. A lot stiffer than the last one we had with the aftermarket suspension, which I assume that's just how these ride when they're stock. But it does have bigger tires, so it's lifted up higher. Let's go ahead and throw this whole thing back together completely. We'll give it like a cleanup, a wash, and then we'll take it for an actual spin and we'll get some good footage. So let me do that real quick. So now we just gotta shove this thing back in there. Let's see if we can fish this in there somehow. All right, I think we're ready for our first drive with the new Diff. So we got everything in there, brand new CV axles. So I say we go try this thing out and see how good it does. All right, here we go, our first official drive with four-wheel drive. We'll try to get stuck and then we'll see if we can get out. So it's been wet, so there's gonna be a lot of spots where we can get stuck here. All right, we're stuck. So let's switch into four-wheel drive. It says it's engaged, we'll go into low. All right, it took a minute for the four-wheel drive to kick in there. All right, so we got this little hill climb here. Whoa. I'm stoked we got this thing done. Let's go into 4 high. All right, we're back in the garage. As you guys saw, this thing's running great. Four-wheel drive works. Everything else on this works because we replaced everything. But yeah, let's do a quick recap of everything we replaced on this thing. We replaced rear CV axles, both of them. Rear diff is brand new. Transmission, we replaced literally everything in there. So that's a brand new transmission. Resealed everything on there. We adjusted the valves, replaced the valve covers, the exhaust seals. Shift linkage is brand new. We did also have to buy this thing because it was broken. I think I already said all brand new brakes all the way around. Brand new CV axles in the front. Upper and lower control arm bushings are brand new. The diff isn't new, but we did pull it apart, reseal everything. Everything's good. It's got all fresh fluid all the way around. Oh yeah, we did add the temp gauge here. Yeah, I'm sure there's more things I'm forgetting, but I think that's pretty much it. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.